I'm Kara Ray, founder of the Powerful and Uncensored Entrepreneurs. I'm a mother, stepmother to 3 beautiful children. I'm a wife and a proud entrepreneur. I'm a mindset coach specifically for the powerful and ambitious online female entrepreneurs who desire to create wealth and abundance in all areas of their life. The Powerful and Uncensored Mompreneur podcast is for the ambitious women and mothers who are ready to rise together and empower one another. Get plugged in each week for unfiltered and uncensored conversations between myself and industry leaders who are here to support you. They have unwavering points of views and empower women to believe in themselves. We will be discussing business, spirituality, sexuality, energy, strong points of views, manifestation, and what I like to call breaking the stigma topics, conversations that will no longer be silenced. This is a safe place to reclaim your power of being a woman. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Powerful and Uncensored Mompreneur podcast. Today I'm extremely excited because I have Lucy Liu. Did I say your last name correctly?
Yes.
Yay! I was literally practicing this earlier. I was like, I'm gonna nail this. And so you guys, today Lucy and I will be discussing time management and being mompreneurs. And so I just want to give a little bit of an introduction to Lucy. So she's a life coach helping women in life transition from unstuck to see clarity, to kiss overwhelm goodbye and set new goals and live a much happier life. So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I am so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Kara. I've been looking forward to this call.
I have too. It's been a long time coming because I think we booked this a few weeks ago. So it's just been sitting in my calendar. But I'm glad that we are able to come and have this discussion. And before I dive deep into this, I always ask this one question to everybody who comes on the podcast. And what are you currently celebrating in your life and business right now?
I am celebrating living. My favorite quote is, "Today is a gift. That is why we call it a present." So I woke up breathing today and I get to talk to you today. And that definitely calls for a celebration because it is the small things in life that we need to celebrate and makes all the difference in life.
I 100% agree with you. And I also adore that quote. So I'm glad that you shared that. And I know that through this conversation, there's going to be a lot of women who are going to resonate with this. A lot of women have actually been asking about time management tips and tools and tricks, especially moms. And so women in business, mothers in business. And so I have a question for you. What does being a mompreneur mean to you? So before you answer, I know that there has been there's like a stigma around the word mompreneur that I have noticed that has come up lately. Yes, I saw your face. You're like, what? This has come up lately where some moms feel that it's disempowering. And so I want to know what your point of view of what does it mean being a mompreneur to you? Because I love the word. I embrace the word. I think it's beautiful and magical, but that's just my opinion. But I want to break that stigma and talk about it a little bit and see where your standpoint is there.
Well, for me, I think that is one of my superpower. What I consider my superpower is I am always able to see the positive in negative events. So yes, I've been hearing a lot of chatter that a lot of moms are not okay with the word mompreneur. But I think I love the word. It is a best thing in the world for me to be a mompreneur because it is a fact. Right? It is a fact that I am a mom. It is a fact that I am an entrepreneur. And so this word, it is simply a fact. But what we associate with it is our own emotions. So if you associate it with your positivity, then it's empowering. If you associate it with negative feelings, then it will disempower you. So it is absolutely your choice. For me, I think the best part of being a mompreneur is you have the opportunity to demonstrate to your children how to successfully manage life and a business. So you can show your child that you can be productive and enjoying your rewarding career or business, right? And these will help you manage your time effectively. And if you spend your time with your kid and effectively manage your business, when they grow up and they have their own family, they're going to really value that time, and they're going to value what you have taught them in the process. So I am a proud mompreneur myself.
I love everything that you just mentioned. And I too, I am a proud mompreneur. When I was reading upon some just opinions around the word mompreneur and why they felt that it was disempowering is because they didn't want to be placed like in this box of being a mom and being an entrepreneur. But as you just explained it so beautifully, is that the fact is I am a mom. And the fact number two is that I am an entrepreneur. So when the words mesh together, I think it's a beautiful combination, because not only am I teaching my children that I can be this unapologetic mom who shows up and can be this parent that loves her children and still spends all the time with her family, but I'm also an entrepreneur who loves everything that she does and has clients who don't have children. I have tons of clients who don't have children, and that's okay. So, but I am a mompreneur, and I love the fact that I am a mompreneur, and I embrace the word. So thank you for sharing that, because I really wanted to chat about that a little bit. And so as a mompreneur, as a woman in business, what has been the most effective time management tool that you've implemented into your business and personal life?
I think being a mompreneur, it is the mindset. Mindset is absolutely everything. You are likely have more things to do than you had the time you have to do them, right? You might feel you're barely managing to juggle motherhood and all the ins and outs of running your business. And it's the best thing. You are not alone. And all it means is that you need to take some time to take a good and hard look at how you spend your time. As mompreneurs, the beautiful part is we don't have a physical boss or superior creeping over our shoulders to, see if we finished our work or not. However, you want to be accountable for yourself, and you want to think that you still have a boss. And your boss right now, it's just it's not a person, but instead your boss is your values and your priorities. So your new boss is your values and priorities, right? So when you say, I don't have time for that, that is not true. You're really saying that it is just not aligned with your values right now, or it is simply not a priority for you right now, right? So I think for me, that mindset, I think, is the foundation. And then you want, of course, there's all these long lists of tips and tricks. But what's important is to know that there is no right or wrong. There is no perfect day. There is no perfect mompreneur. And what works for others might not work for you. So you want to listen in. You want to, catch the advice and take what works for you.
So I wish everybody could see my reactions, because we started giggling there, but I literally was like, yes, I love everything that you're saying. I am all about, intentional action and taking action and values and boundaries and knowing them, and so that you can honor how you feel and your emotions. And so I absolutely adore everything that you said, but especially in regards to priorities. And I want to talk about that a little bit, is because I think some people get a little lost in regards to priorities, is because sometimes priorities need to temporarily shift. And that doesn't mean that things are going to be going away for the remainder of your life. That just means that it shifts in order for you to ultimately bring in what you desire in your business. And so I've had to learn that sometimes my priorities need to shift very temporarily, whether that's for a week, whether that's for 2 weeks or a month, so that I can bring in what I ultimately want. But if I don't do that, then that's my own choice. And going back to like how everything is a choice, how you were talking about earlier, but being accountable for yourself, like you said, even though you don't have this upper person to call on to, that you still need to be accountable for yourself and checking in daily with you and taking that intentional action. And so that was a beautiful response. I'm I'm loving this so far.
Oh, I'm so glad. I mean, as moms, we try to do multiple things at once, right? We're superhero. We are super women. We all are. And
Yes.
we do all these things at once thinking that it will save us time. But unfortunately, I think as moms, we only will learn later on that multitasking efforts actually are not effective time savers. And
Yes.
this is where we want to learn from men to be more single task. And we want to laser focus in on one thing that needs to get done for the day. And I think what you mentioned earlier is very beautiful, the change part. It is okay to change things up.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely okay. I think a lot of women are very hard on themselves, right? And you can shift off even if you're off the road. All you have to do is call yourself back when you feel you're wandering off. And you can change things around and you should change around. Example, if your child is just getting off school, they're going into summer camps or they're staying home, whatever that shift in schedule is, yes, you should change your schedule accordingly, and that is perfectly fine. And because of that, you might have more stress, you might have downtime. You want to schedule self-care routines, to accommodate that. And that is perfectly fine. And when you have a child, there's sick days, there's other contingencies that just are not available for single ladies. So what you do, you add buffer, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want to be very realistic. Don't get so stuck up in the ideal timing, but do realist timing. And when everything's running very smoothly, you challenge yourself a little bit more. But when
Yes.
things are getting busy, you add a little bit buffer and give yourself grace.
Yes. I am all about giving yourself grace for things that you didn't know before. This conversation is I'm just sitting here and adoring this. So I literally have been speaking to a ton of women about learning how to give themselves compassion and self-love and grace for things that they didn't know before. And so I want to touch on a few things that you had mentioned here, especially when you're talking about like how men and those single tasks. I literally just had a conversation with my husband because he wasn't intentionally doing something to make me upset. I'm very organized. Like you said earlier, sometimes I do multiple things at once. And so I organized our closet and I organized his area a few times. And it's not something that he wants to maintain. And that's okay. But I just kind of had to put that, like, it was no longer going to be a priority to me. Like, I'm not cleaning up after your stuff. I'm not doing this anymore because this is not serving me anymore. And this is a waste of my time. I love you and I care about you. But until it is a value and a priority to you, I'm not going to try and implement it and force you. And I remember his look on his face. He just looked at me like, what? I value that you do this. I'm like, well, that's not how it's being portrayed, but having those conversations. But he is so single task. So when I come at him and say, hey, I need you to take the garbage out, then take the bottles out, then do this, then do this, then do this, he's like, could we just do one thing at a time? I'm like, but you need to do all the things.
This is making me laugh because sometimes we as women, we run ourselves in circles, right? We're
Yes.
running circles around ourselves.
100% of the 100%. I was going to say 100% of the time, but no, not 100% of the time. But a lot of the time, yes, we are literally running ourselves in like this short fuse. It's like, when is this fuse going to burn out? We need to like beat the punch. And I have learned that I've needed to take a step back and that I've learned to reprioritize a few things, reschedule things like time management, because what's valuable and what I want to prioritize is my family. Yes, my business is extremely important to me, but I want to be able to be there for my kids the moment that they need me. And I want to be able to manipulate and do whatever I need to do in my schedule so that I can be present for them. Like, that's what abundance in my business means to me, is being able to be a mom and show up fully as a mom. But I, you know, I talk to my kids about what I'm doing. So if they ask me, like, why are you on the computer? I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to be doing a podcast interview, and this is who I'm going to be talking to. I involve them in the process. I've even had my stepdaughter on the podcast because she was interested in it. And I said, well, let's just do a fun interview. And I make sure that they're a part of it, and so that they understand it, and so that it empowers them that no matter the decisions that they make in their life, they get to choose, but they can, if they feel like they need to explain as they go, they can. But I'm going on a tangent now. See, I told you. We can go in all directions on this podcast.
No, I'll pull it back. I mean, in order to get time management the way you want to, what you have to do is that you have to work backwards, right? You have to schedule in your mom duties and non-negotiables first. I think that's what a lot of women get it wrong is they make a list, they make a long to-do list. They're like, what do I have to do in my business? What do I have to do to find my next client? What do I have to do? You know, it's all about the business, and they forget about their own non-negotiables. So you actually have to work completely backwards. You have to schedule in all your family time. I mean, you don't have to schedule like exactly the time and the things you have to do, but you have to block those times for your family and mom duties and all your non-negotiables. Like for me, my 3 meals are absolutely non-negotiable. I eat at the same time every day. So those are my non-negotiables, right? And I work my schedule around that. If you don't want it to affect your relationship, your child, I mean, I schedule my podcast, I schedule my client calls when my daughter's either not yet awake in the morning or at night after she sleeps. I know that's where you're at, and or if she's at school. So you just have to surround yourself with other like-minded women who think the same way and who are on the same track, and they will understand.
I love that you just touched on that, because it's important that you are honest about what you need and where you are at, and also as a mom. So I'm doing my podcast interview, and tonight right now it's 7:00 in the evening for me at the moment, and she's in bed. That's great. And my husband just went out, and so there's no interruptions. And that's usually, I try to monopolize that time. And if not, I communicate with my husband if something needs to be scheduled, and I talk to my kids about it. But I always let them know. And even for example, last week with my kids, I had to respond to a really important email, and I told them I need 5 minutes, and if this takes me longer than 5 minutes, I'm going to close my computer no matter if I'm finished or not. And I didn't end up being done. I closed my computer because that's what I promised my kids, and my kids are a priority. And so that's what I did. And I make it in, like, basically when you were talking about in your schedule, is that I do schedule in time for my family and for my non-negotiables every single day. Because if my kids come up to me and they say that they want to experience something, they want to go on like this adventure or so, I don't want to miss that. I love the fact that they have these beautiful imaginations, and that life just looks absolutely miraculous through their eyes. And I never want them to lose that. So of course I'm going to nurture that. But in regards, I'm going to bring it back, because I will go on another tangent if I keep going, and that's not where we're going. And so for the busy mompreneur, do you have, one tip that you would provide them in regards to time management? Like just one thing that you feel the women should know?
I think to-do lists are very daunting for women. Like the moment we look at a long to-do list, like we're like, oh, so overwhelmed, no time, right? That's like a bad habit. So what you want to do is to change that name of the list. Like there's a few ways to change it. Some call it the ta-ta list. Is when you get one item checked off, you raise your arms high and say ta-da. or there's another list called the done list, right? So when you get something checked off on the list, you're like, yes, done. And you want to raise your hand when you actually check an item off, because the power pose of raising both your hands up in the air has been scientifically proven to empower us. So by checking one list item, you are empowering yourself. and the rest of the item could be just, icing on the cake, because you already know what the essential tasks you need to get done for that day when you have no distraction, right? So even if you do not get to the rest of them, you will know that the most essential task is complete and you're on a good track.
I like that you were talking about the to-do list and changing the name of them. And just, it's that simple. Sometimes that simplest little shift in mindset is just, it's one of those moments where you're like, wow, I didn't even know that that would make this big of a difference. But even in regards to a budget, the dreaded word budget, because it can be very limiting and it doesn't actually factor in every other possibility into a budget. You just budget for what comes in and what comes out. And so me and my husband, we actually changed it to our wealthy vision board. And so when we write things out, it is not just our bills and what is coming in, what is coming out, what our groceries are. It's actually what we desire and what we plan to bring in, and what our goals and our dreams are, so that it's not just this one thing that we're looking at that everything is going. It's this thing that we look at that we're actually, every single time we're able to pay a bill, we are thankful and grateful for it. And then every time we achieve another goal on our list and we talk to one another about what those are, we get excited again. So it's that celebration piece. And so I like that you talked about that, because that's something that I implement in regards to our wealthy vision board, because I didn't like the word budget. I felt like it was so limiting and it made me so angry. So it's good to have a little bit of a shift. And so I'm really curious, because, you and I have only talked briefly. And so what was the nudge for you and the calling for you to really enter into this space of coaching? I'm really curious.
For me, I didn't know coaching was a career possible.
Mm-hmm.
I did not grow up having a life coach myself. But the moment I found out it was actually something that some people do, I was intrigued. Because in my community and in my circle of friends, none of us had life coach. And I was like asking them, like, have you heard about life coaching? They're like, yeah, celebrities have them. So a lot of people think, this is not for me. And that's the truth for many things in life. People's like, this thing exists, but it's not for me. It can't possibly be for me because I'm just an average Joe, right? And as I looked into that, and I'm really intrigued by the idea of helping others, and I feel like I am very called, and I feel I am good at it. I feel I
Yes,
do
claim
have the
that.
super, I have the superpower, to help others. So that's what I love to do, and I wake up each morning smiling because I am doing exactly what I love to do.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I was just very curious, because I love talking to women about what they're celebrating, but I also love talking about what this this nudge was that pushed them in the direction of coaching, because I think the coaching industry is absolutely beautiful. And there is a lot of, women that I've encountered who have a lot of limiting beliefs of the believability that it is for them or what is for them. Because even when I grew up, I had a mother who was in the entrepreneurial space my entire life. And so I got to watch her speak in front of different individuals and really empower women and men. And I remember sitting on the couch and listening to her, but I never myself had a life coach or a business coach until I dove into the coaching industry myself, until I made the leap and I said, I don't know what to do here. And I feel like this is my next best step and this is what I'm going to do. And I, I remember that decision being probably one of the most messy, intentional action things I've ever done in my life. Where it was such a decision that was not only empowering, but also very confusing at the same time, because I didn't know which direction I was going. But in regards to being a coach and coaching, humans on this planet, which is a beautiful thing, and empowering others, what is one message that you wished all women and mothers just knew? Like, if you could shout it from the rooftops, get into the power pose about it, and just shout it, what would that be?
It would be that there is always a way. I tell this to everyone, and it changed my life when I truly, deeply, madly started believing that there is always a way.
Yep.
Because if you don't truly, madly, deeply believe in it, you're going to come up with lies and excuses, right?
Yes.
We all do, and even as life coaches, we still do, and that's why we have our own coaches to work with,
Mm-hmm.
because only when you believe in this so down into your bones and blood, that's when you absolutely know that there is a solution out there, and you will be constantly on the lookout for new opportunities. So there are not going to be any struggles. When people ask me, what are your current struggles? You know what? I don't have any struggles. I have fun challenges, sometimes some inconveniences, but I get to work through them. And these little rocks, they might not be rocks in your way. They are building the path to your success and happiness. So you have to thank these little rocks and obstacles and challenges and inconveniences. They are exactly what you need to help you to become the better version of you. And you just have to see it in that way.
100%. And the choice is yours and the perspective is yours. Perspective is key and perspective is huge when it comes to everything that happens in life. Because I've had, even this morning, like full transparency, I had a moment where things weren't going the way that I wanted them to go in my business. It's not that they were horrible by any means, but I had envisioned this perfect yellow brick road, basically, of how I was going to get there. And all of a sudden, this boulder was like placed in my way, like we were saying. And I got caught up in this negative idea of, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get across this. And I had to rewrite some limiting beliefs and realize and remind myself that I have the belief that everything happens for a reason, and that every obstacle, every challenge that is placed in my way is meant to empower me to get to the stage that I want to be. So that lesson, I need to learn that lesson before I get to basically the end of the yellow brick road. So I like that. I like that you talked about that. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I do have to add that the road, if you want to take a shortcut, you hire a coach too,
Yes.
right? Because there's all these roads and sometimes there's a split and you don't know which way to go. I mean,
Yeah.
you might get there, but if you want to get there faster, you want to hire a coach.
100%. And I work with not just one coach. I work with two different coaches, and then I usually invest in different programs because I believe in personal growth, accountability, but also somebody else holding me accountable to a different standard. And I love the benefits of one-on-one coaching. I love the benefits of being a part of a mastermind, of being a part of different programs, because I believe there's a benefit in each one that is being provided or what you feel called to be a part of. And so I definitely love having coaches. I definitely love that environment and always having someone to be there. But in regards to time management, because I have one last question for you, what was the stress and life kind of like for you prior to you really like implementing these non-negotiables, these time management keys for you? Like, how did you feel prior to having this in your business?
I think it would be the constant procrastination. I think we all have challenged ourselves with some type of procrastination. And it is what I learned. There's two ways to look at it. It could be a form of resistance, or it could be on the mindset, right? Resistance, there's also two types of resistance. The true resistance, meaning you realize what you're doing is not in alignment with your values and priorities. Then you might want to, tweak things around. Or the other level is the mindset level. Are you just procrastinating because of your own mindset?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, you need to work on your mindset. You have to remove the blocks. Then there's another form of procrastination that's stress relief. It is actually what I learned is our procrastination actions are helping us stress relieving. We might not notice it, but yeah, what are you doing instead of doing what you're supposed to do? Are you watching like, funny cat videos, right? That's actually releasing your stress. So you actually have to look into it a little bit deeper and realize what are the stress factors that you actually need to remove.
Yes. And there's actually a quote that I absolutely love in regards to procrastination. That's procrastination is a thief of time. And so constantly putting things on the back burner, not focusing on them, not taking action towards them, it is literally a thief of time. And so is there any other, message that you want to tell women on this podcast kind of before we kind of wrap everything all into one? Because I think we've had a really beautiful conversation. We have talked about priorities and shifts and the shifts in mindset and accountability. We've talked about intentional action. We've talked about the power pose and, the difference in the mindset in regards to to-do lists, to having a yes done list, or, the wealthy vision board. Like, we've talked about a ton of different things and how women can really just shift. And so is there any other message that you would like to tell the women listening on this podcast?
I do want to add technology.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're living in a fast-paced world, technology can be at your advantage or disadvantage. So because there's plenty of technology within arm's reach that you can put to work for you, like reminder lists, alarms, timers, calendars to manage your time. But also it could be at your disadvantage because you're looking at your time, you're just like taking a look at your calendar, and the next thing you know, you spent 2 hours on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have to be very careful of technology.
Yes.
You have to be very intentional about your time and your time spent on technology. So you want to turn off those, notifications on your social. You want to mute the people who are giving you negative vibes. I think those are very important.
100%.
And also, and then also to ask for help. I think as women, sometimes we don't speak up until we are 100% sure, or maybe like even 200% sure. And we don't ask for help enough. But I do feel like us women entrepreneurs, whenever you reach out to another women entrepreneur, it's almost always a yes, whatever you ask for. We want to rise together, and most womenpreneurs really want to see each other rise.
100%. There was actually about how there's a quote how it has to do with women empowering women, but also women standing in each other's corner, and how they're not we're not in competition with one another. We're here to support one another. We're here to see each other succeed. And we ultimately want to see that. I know that when I connect with women such as yourself or anyone, that I ultimately want you to have the most beautiful and abundant life possible that you've ever dreamed of. And because that's what I want. Why wouldn't I want that for somebody else? I would want someone, if I think that something is possible for me, I want the other person to have the same belief that it is absolutely possible for them, because it is. And so I like that you talked about that, and especially time management in regards to, there is a ton of apps when you intentionally set time or you turn off those notifications. Like, I utilize a few in my business where I intentionally set time to utilize so that it saves time for me throughout the week, so I can intentionally and purposely put time into my family, because that's what I love. And so I think that was an important piece to talk about, and I'm glad that you brought it up. So thank you. And I want to say thank you for being on this podcast, for talking to the women about time management and the mompreneur piece. And honestly, I could talk to you forever about a lot of these topics, because I feel like we resonate on many levels. And so I know that you and I, this is not the last time that we will be talking or collaborating on something. I feel it in my bones.
Yeah, I feel it too.
And so can you please share your social media platforms with everyone and how they can connect with you and where they can connect with you if they're resonating with your message?
Sure. If you're going through a period of life transition or making a big lifestyle change and need some foundation mindset work, feel free to reach out to me. I am most active on Instagram these days, and I am at MSLUCYLIU. That's Miss Lucy Liu. And my website is www.lucyliu coaching.com. That's LUCYLIU coaching.com. And right now I have a free ebook on motivation and self-development, and comes with an instant happiness tool guide for you guys.
Amazing. I will make sure to add all of these into the show notes. So they will be hyperlinks. So when they click on that in the show notes, it'll be sent directly to you. And then also when I launch this episode, or everybody who's listening to it, will have access. There'll be like a link that you can share in regards to the ebook. So we'll make sure that that's out there, because I know women will absolutely adore that and want to snag that up. And so thank you again for sharing this space with me, for coming on here, for just sharing this message with me. It was very nice to get to know you on a different level here as well, and just to have an incredible conversation. And so I want to say thank you again. And sorry, go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me, and for all the beautiful souls listening. Thank you for tuning in.
And to everybody else, I will see you guys all in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.